Is there ever a time this movie isn't in the present day? Why is this time placement?
What the hell is happening here? It's flight number 19! 19 what?
David asks the guy, what the hell is happening here? And the guy thinks, it's flight number 19, answers the question. You know goddamn well that's not what he meant, asshole.
These planes were reported missing in 1945.
The mystery of these aliens runs deep in this movie. Why did they return all the World War II airplanes at this moment in time, but not the pilots who flew them? These assholes came down here, dropped off some planes, and whisked off into space like we wouldn't have questions about that shit.
He says the sun came up last night. He says it sang to him.
Of course, the witness to all the alien activity speaks in riddles, so that the movie doesn't let the main characters know that they're dealing with aliens yet. Couldn't be a scientist that saw all this, or a local man known as Trustworthy Fred. It has to be this guy. The movie wants me to believe that no one in this 1970s control room is smoking.
About an SR-71.
It's hard to hear, but this guy just suggested the mysterious object could be an SR-71 Blackbird, a plane designed to fly 3 times the speed of sound at an altitude at least 50,000 feet above normal airline traffic. In short, it's pretty safe to say that something traveling that high and that fast would be of no concern long before you realize you should be concerned.
The traffic is approaching head-on, ultra bright, and really moving. They're right by us right now. That was really close.
Aliens are addicted to air traffic. By the way, this is supposedly an advanced alien race, right? Why the fuck are they whipping past aircraft like they're in Tom Cruise Maverick? Oh, 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 look at her, oh, 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 look at her, ah! Go Eagles! Toys that drop their pants. American Airlines. Movie will go on to show the extraterrestrials as curious, awe-inspiring creatures and benevolent visitors, so I'd like to remind you they destroyed every bit of food in the fridge of a single mother. I never thought about it before, but the aliens in Close Encounters are a lot like the demons we see in future horror movies, turning shit on for the fuck of it, just so they can play little practical jokes on families. In horror movies, we're told the reason for this is to weaken the victims, but what do these aliens get out of it?
Barry!
Kids.
We can finish watching the Ten Commandments!
I have no idea how to research whether or not kids in the 70s actually wanted to watch the Ten Commandments, so I'm just going to say no and wait for the comments section to sort that one out. Why are alien ships causing blackouts everywhere, but at the Geiler residence it's causing all the battery-powered shit to turn on?
Hey, light!
I have no idea how to research whether or not people yelled, "Hey, lights," when the power went out in the 70s, so I'm giving 10 sins to the decade for its various known and unknown transgressions.
Let it all fail. We'll pick up the pieces later after it's fallen.
Present-day musings on democracy.
What's the normal tension for that area?
There's no wind. Normal tension for the sag is 15,000 pounds per wire.
This guy asks a technical question to a room of technicians and is surprised to get an answer.
But I'm in charge here right now, and you're going to Crystal Lake.
We'd like you to restore the power, but watch your back. We've been hearing reports of a serial killer with a hockey mask running around the area.
You're in the middle of the road, jackass!
Yelling this at an emergency vehicle.
Turkey!
Using restraint when motherfucker is called for. This UFO somehow has nearly the exact same lights as the car with the angry driver earlier had. Also, what the fuck is this shit anyway? The ship just comes down to a barren road to sneak up on a car for what? So that Richard Dreyfuss will start sculpting mountains out of mashed potatoes? Alright. By the way, put your fucking hazard lights on, dude. Are you fucking kidding with this shit? As you've already heard frequently, I have no idea what these aliens are doing. They're putting out some sort of force that's moving these mailboxes back and forth, but not affecting anything else in the area. Are the aliens using some sort of laser pointer with EMP capabilities, or are they just keenly aware of how cool all this suspense is? Alright guys, we're done with that shit. Let's fly another couple hundred feet and shine a light down here. That asshole Richard Kimball's gotta be somewhere. I haven't seen someone be this much of a dick to a guardrail since my college girlfriend sideswiped one in her Kia Rio and then immediately sideswiped it again so the car behind us would know she did it on purpose. Melinda Dillon ex machina. So wait, do alien ships frequently fly through here to the point that this old man and his kids can schedule this shit? These aliens might be dumb. They have spaceships but still use the toll roads. Indiana police decide that Ohio is also their jurisdiction and didn't even bother to call Ohio cops to the scene. Did these two stop to pay the toll during a high-speed pursuit of a spaceship? Of all the times to disobey the rules, laws, and jurisdiction, this would be it!
Hey, that's Ohio! That's a quarter!
Oh, come on, it's pretty bad, but Ohio is worth at least 3 times that, man. Also, did the toll booth guy just forget about the 3 spaceships that flew through the station a minute ago? Does he not think cops, even Indiana ones, should be pursuing those spaceships? What the fuck did he think that was? He can't be that drunk, right?
Look at that! Look at those suckers! They're glued to the road!
They are flying and have been clearly flying for a while now. Unless the movie is trying to suggest that they were driving momentarily and completely off camera, the script has momentarily stopped making sense. Then these ships decide, F it, let's just stop following the roadways and just fly into space now. This cop Michael bays himself off the road and down an embankment, keeping that gas pedal pinned the entire time. Everything about this room is a sin. The toys and the clothes everywhere, the way this lampshade somehow blends in with the wallpaper and the curtains. Oh yeah, and the kids.
Roy, what did it look like?
After he just saw the ships fly off into the night sky and the lights come back on throughout the city, why does he think the ships are going to come back here now? Is this just so he can build a strong case that he's crazy super early into the picture?
I remember when we used to come to places like this just to look at each other.
Skip looking around for aliens when you have Terry Garr wanting to make out with you. I was ready to compliment all the detail that went into this newspaper until we got to this page with its weird-ass layout sandwiching these UFO stories between two parts of the same article about Star Wars. I guess even in the 70s, the press was into blending facts with fiction. They interviewed the cop that drove his car off the road and got a quote of him saying, "I thought my car was one of them. It was up off the ground so high." This asshole survived that shit and didn't even learn a lesson. This kid enters the scene and stares at the camera pretty much the entire time.
Hey, this is not your toy to play with every time I turn around.
Well, just don't turn around then, Mom.
I want you to go outside and have a hot dog, okay?
The scene opened with Roy getting ready to shave, not at a barbecue. The movie has no way set up a scenario by which hot dogs should just be outside.
Roy, you got fired. They didn't even want to talk to you.
Since this whole conversation took place while the camera was focused on these two brothers fighting, we have no real idea why Roy was fired. The lights came back on, right? Maybe it's because he drives like a maniac and nearly killed a kid. I don't know. You'd think after all the alien shit that bosses would be more focused on that than firing people. And is that how firings work? Just tell the wife? What a weird scene this is.
I'm not getting a job, you know. I'm not getting a job.
I'll wait until I'm married to Michael Keaton, and then it'll become the plot to a whole movie. Somehow, Barry did not get burned like Roy or Jillian, despite having similar exposure to the alien spacecraft. These alien lights turn out to be helicopters, all for some sort of fake-out. Why the fuck are helicopters coming out here and shining lights down on the people? Can't you just get a trooper to drive by?
Where is the sounds coming from?
Everybody in this village is singing the 5 notes, but apparently these two people they're talking to can't tell them it came from the sky. They have to wait for the answer so that everyone can dramatically point upwards at the end of the scene. Also, aside from being cinematic, there isn't a clear reason why this meeting had to be conducted in such a hurry while on this hillside.
I want to share with you now the breakthrough that happened in India.
Didn't you just do that? You played the people singing the notes and everybody gave it a standing ovation. Now you're going to teach them musical sign language using the Kodale method, which is definitely important for talking to the aliens later, but has little to do with the breakthrough in India.
To help you learn, I am using the hand sign created by Zoltan Kodály.
While Zoltan did do some other notable shit in the area of music education, he didn't create these hand signs. John Kerwin did, based on the Solfa system created by Sarah Glover, who probably based her work on something someone else did and so on. That's how progress works. We're all building on something that came before us, but that's no excuse to not give credit where credit is due, Claude. Ah, what a world it would be if we could all experience as much joy as this man pressing these buttons to play this recording. Why is he sitting this way with his hand awkwardly stretched across the front of the tape deck? And why does he need to have this spotlight pointed at him? Why is this character Tab?
We've been sending out this musical combination for weeks, but all we're getting back are numbers.
Bob Balaban to the rescue, because he's a map maker and he knows latitudes and longitudes. My question is, how do you have a bunch of dweeby, sciencey geek nerds in this place and nobody once thought of latitude and longitude?
Excuse me.
Instead of simply telling his colleagues what he thinks the numbers mean, David has to grandstand the whole process by stopping everything in its tracks so he can pat himself on the back for being a cartographer.
Before I got paid to speak French, I used to read maps.
Funny, at the beginning of the movie you said you made maps.
I'm a map maker.
Oh well, potato tomato, I guess.
That's a $2,500 globe. What are you guys doing?
Guy who must have won a contest to be in this movie is right. Why are they trying to take the globe out of its display when they can just lift the display? Furthermore, why even bother with removing the globe when all you have to do is get Bob MapQuest Balaban on the scene and just point out where the coordinates are? Now that we know they're going to Wyoming, I will reiterate that almost none of the things the aliens have done so far make any sense. They fly around Indiana and never play any of those notes. Then they go to India, no relation, and they play the notes. They drop off old airplanes in the Sonoran Desert, play the notes for one old dude, and keep the people they abducted. If the whole idea was to give the humans coordinates, why not skip all the other shit and just play the notes everywhere until someone figures the shit out? In real life, this kid is being entertained off-screen by Steven Spielberg to get the performance he wants. So what exactly is bringing this kid joy in the movie? Oh, nothing, just rolling dark clouds that portend a hellscape of doom. This child delights in the powers of darkness reaching out from the interdimensional cross-section of the demon's mouth and grasping the throat of humankind. Billions of years of alien evolution have allowed them to crack the code of opening blinds from outside the house. They're turning the screws to this air conditioning vent, but who cares? Nobody can fit down that thing, even the kid. What was this supposed to do? How is getting into the ductwork of the house easier than picking the lock to the front door? I'm telling you, these aliens are the demons from all the horror movies, but they turn out to be good in the end. Nothing about this scene makes a goddamn lick of sense.
Go away!
Jillian displays real panic in this scene, and Barry is convinced that this is all a game. I suppose this is meant to show that Barry has some sixth sense about the situation and knows the aliens won't hurt them, but they are breaking into the house right now, very much uninvited, and this kid is undermining his mom's attempts at keeping him alive. I guess what I'm getting at is Barry is probably a psychopath, and that possibility is glossed over by the entire movie. When all else fails, run the vacuum cleaner. No part of a coil-range cooktop should be admitting this kind of light unless E.T. made modifications, to really sell the scene.
This is a flying saucer.
That's the one I saw.
Some asshole says, that's the one I saw, when these dickhead ships don't look a fucking thing like this.
For 15 years, I've been looking for these damn silly lights in the night sky. I've never found any.
Which makes the alien activity recently even more puzzling. They obviously want people to know where they're going. They broadcast their coordinates, but for some reason they flew to remote areas so that the only people who saw them were a bunch of hayseeds. Then for no reason they decided to steal a kid in the middle of all this. Kidnapping! Also, after writing real articles in the previous newspaper shop, this one decides to go with the stock we don't know what the fuck we're talking about articles. The facts regarding the situation remain the same. They sure do, fake newspaper. They sure do. I don't think there's a quality difference great enough to warrant the transfer of the red jumpsuit apparatus from these vans onto a bus. And I certainly don't think it was worth risking injury by grabbing onto the door handle of a moving vehicle.
What I need is something so scary it'll clear 300 square miles of every living Christian soul.
So, I take it you don't want to scare all the other people practicing other religions living in Wyoming?
There's a dead fly in my potato.
It's okay.
It's okay. Look, I understand obsession. I used to write my own Red Shoe diaries and then submit them to David Duchovny in person, but how many times is Roy going to create this shape expecting to know what it is when it's finished? Isn't there even a little part of him that says, God damn, this is probably going to scare my family. Maybe I should wait until everyone's asleep to do this. Roy being tormented by this vision is very powerful stuff, and Richard Dreyfuss is doing a great job with the character. But this also makes me wonder why the aliens choose to give vague directions to a random place instead of just picking Roy up at home. If I learned one thing from my 7th grade art class, it's that clay does not separate that easily or cleanly if bonded correctly. So, the sin is shoddy craftsmanship. Anyway, convenient destruction of art project is convenient.
Oh, Roy!
God damn, this guy's an asshole. I know he finally figured out the shape he's obsessing over. And bully for him, but destroying your home and nearly injuring your wife to make an even better model of the thing you're picturing? What a dick! We're supposed to root for this guy, right? Also, even though it makes the scene, Roy's choice to put everything through this window is just silly. If his goal is to build this thing as fast as possible, the clear choice is the sliding door at the back of the house. I know we're supposed to realize how much this vision means to him, but he just took a trash can away from a garbage collector before he could empty it, and who was gonna put it back anyway! Now, there's trash in the street for no reason. We tend to forget by the end of this movie that Roy did some completely unnecessary shit to his family and neighbors, and we're supposed to be okay with it because he was proven right.
Whatever you're doing is against the law.
Mrs. Harris makes a great point, but doesn't call the cops. In fact, no one calls the cops, a doctor, an exorcist, or anyone that might be willing to deal with an unhinged man in the 70s. Not content with just the Budweiser product placement in this scene, movie plays an actual Budweiser TV ad just 40 seconds later.
Good evening. At the top of the news tonight, a rail disaster.
Earlier, the TV was playing Days of Our Lives, a soap opera that played on NBC. So why is ABC News playing after that?
Devil's Tower, Wyoming was the first national monument erected in this country by Theodore Roosevelt in 1915.
While Theodore Roosevelt did proclaim Devil's Tower as the first national monument on September 24, 1906, no one erected it. It's like a natural formation of lava or some shit. Weird that it's dark as fuck in Arizona during this broadcast that's happening at the same time as the one that's happening in daylight in Indiana, a state that is anywhere from 1 to 3 hours ahead of Arizona, depending on where you are. Also, the movie is trying to make it seem like Jillian would have only made this trip because her son was abducted, but she clearly has the same obsession that Roy does and would have come out here anyway.
Why aren't there any fat lines instead of these thin ones?
Roy continues to be a penis, driving his car with a big map blocking his view, but why did it take this long for someone to honk at him? These assholes honked when he was 10 feet away. Also, how is he only now running into people when it's been a desolate road this whole time? Like, he's right at the checkpoint. Wouldn't he have run into cars well before this?
You got next to Ken on the red run, buddy?
Carl Weathers doesn't have a bigger role in this scene. Granted, we don't see where Jillian is when she yells this, but considering that we see her getting pushed onto this train super far away from Roy's car with thousands of people all over the place, I'm gonna go ahead and doubt that she ever saw Roy, and this is the movie's fucked up way of getting them together. Dude, you bought a couple of gas masks just in case the government wasn't bullshitting, but now that you're in the hot zone, you just walk around without a care in the world. This hill gently slopes to the top if you take the grassy area next to the car, but they decide to go up the much steeper, muddier part to climb it. I'd remove a billion sins if we saw a giant Roy Scheider next to this mountain saying, "This means something. This is important."
I don't believe it's real.
I understand not realizing the Devil's Tower was the location you were being led to, but it has been around for millions of years, so there's no reason not to believe this is real. I think the sin here is for the American school system. Killing two birds with one stone.
Mr. Lacombe is the highest authority.
He isn't even an American.
Yeah, why exactly are these guys doing the questioning when they could get any asshole in here to go through a script to determine if he's a simple trespasser or someone who's drawn here by a mysterious force? What if Roy's a film nerd and recognizes Francois Truffaut? Admittedly unlikely, but damn, why take that chance?
We're gonna hold for a couple of minutes.
Helicopter gets held up just long enough for our protagonist to escape.
There must be hundreds of others also touched by the implanted vision who never made it this far. It's simply because they never watched the television.
Also, there are only so many extras we can put in this movie with all that Coke and Budweiser money we made. Going through barrels couldn't possibly be faster than going around them, and seems completely unnecessary. Getting away from military custody was this easy.
Start dusting with Easy 4.
Qu'est-ce que c'est? What easy for?
Even with all the helicopter noise in the background, Claude and David can clearly hear all of Major Walsh's phone conversation.
C'est belong here, mon ennui.
It's they belong here more than us. Get it right, you French dick. Love Jules and Jim, though. This helicopter that zooms over them changes its make and model and picks up a Jeep along the way.
They just crop dusting! Los Angeles!
Saying this despite the fact that you are on the side of a Devil's Tower and there are no crops around. The military is serious enough to spray the area with sleeping gas to make sure they don't see the aliens, but they only send one helicopter to cover a huge area for some reason.
Jump! Jump!
The knockout gas is in the air, right? So the movie is really going to have them escape air simply by getting to the other side of a rock?
We now show uncorrelated targets approaching from the northwest.
One thing I'm not sure the movie ever explains is how they know this visit is going to happen tonight. The aliens sent coordinates, but they didn't send a date or time. My God, man, this is why you go to the movies. Imagine seeing this on the big screen in 1977. There's a sense of wonder about aliens in this movie that is lacking from tons of other alien movies. What a spectacle. I remember moving Five Sins because it's so beautiful.
Admiral Haggard, but it was great.
That one friend who's been listening to the same music since high school and takes every opportunity to remind you of that. Did this operation need a fully functioning Coke machine with the ad placement? Not sure if this relationship became romantic before or after his wife left him, but it's the strangest, most shoehorniest part of this story. Jesus Christ, these aliens sure set up a bunch of dramatic build-up to their visits, don't they? I mean, yeah, they want to make sure they don't get torched by nukes or something, I'm sure, but how many times are they going to show up and disappear? Well, that guy's going to get eaten by a dinosaur. Aliens with this sick of a brass section choose the middle of nowhere Wyoming instead of New Orleans.
Give her 6 quavers, then pause.
My best friend giving me advice on how to make love to a woman somehow makes it into the script.
She sent us 4 quavers, a group of 5 quavers, a group of 4 semi-quavers.
This description amounts to 13 notes in total, but I just heard something closer to 23 notes, and rhythmically speaking, they all seem to be quavering about the same. This scene where the score of the movie becomes alive in the world while also playing an integral part of the story, it's exciting fun, and worth a sit off. Sure, why not? The aliens know the Jaws theme. Can you guys request the Godfather theme while you're at it? You've shown proficiency with a keyboard. We will now deliver the people we kidnapped years ago back to you. Bring us Vangelis! Why is every single one of these people white and probably American? Did the aliens abduct people from other countries too? Why did they go to India and do a flyby? They didn't also have people from there they stole. This dog sliding into the future with some tales to tell doesn't have a bigger role in this film. And oh look, there's Barry! So glad Barry's back. Question, why did the aliens abduct him for like a couple weeks, only to send him back now? Is it because the movie needed an emotional reunion for one of the main characters? Why did these assholes close the ramp to their ship only to open it back up 30 seconds later? These aliens, man, do they not know they are the teases of the universe? I have to say, a lot of things in this movie have stood the test of time. The look of these aliens, however, is not one of them. Throughout the whole movie, this group has been pretty strict about 2 things, wearing sunglasses and walking in line, so I find it completely unbelievable that this woman forgot her sunglasses a moment ago and had to get out of line to remedy the situation. These little guys are not nearly as upset as they should be, considering out of all the people they invited to the party, only Roy showed up, and with a bunch of assholes in red pajamas who are definitely not on the guest list. At this moment, I'm realizing that underneath its rough sci-fi exterior, this movie is a heartwarming tale of visitors from another planet hypnotizing a man into abandoning his family. Ah, this is so good. This is why Spielberg is Spielberg. He's a guy who dedicated his life to finding aliens. He gets to have the first semi-conversation with one. And this alien is no dummy. He does the hand signals back perfectly. Unrelated, I do not forget that Richard Dreyfuss's character was an asshole for most of this movie. Anyway, what a good scene this is.
Oh, no. Not again.
Fight on, heroes must be. Fight on, hoist the gold and blue.
You can say hello when you see me. You don't have to be afraid. There's a lot of things going around about me, but none of it's true.
The equipment specialist. Were these non-random signals here? 40, 36, 10? In response to that?
No, they should be. We've been sending out this musical combination for weeks, but all we're getting back are numbers.
They're here.
You got an extra can in the red drum, buddy?
Uh-huh. My sister.
What's her name?
She's my sister and my daughter.
Il faudrait peut-être vérifier sa crédibilité. Non, j'ai confiance dans mon intuition. Ces gens-là ont été choisis au hasard.
Well, look, I already told you. I deal with the goddamn customers so the engineers don't have to. I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. What the hell is wrong with you people?
I bring you love.
Water is life. Water is power.
You found out. Baskin Robbins always finds out. Bomb of this pyramid, over.
Go ahead.
The request lines are now open. KGFJ Soul Radio.
Bomb of this pyramid, over.
Go ahead. Y'all hear that?
We're using code names.
Saying you, I did it.